There comes a time in every soul's journey when it must stop pretending it is small, when the whisper within grows louder than the noise of the world outside, when the ache to remember who you really are becomes unbearable, and you surrender not to the chaos but to the infinite silence beneath it all. You are not here by accident, and you are not merely flesh and bone stumbling through time. You are not the labels you've worn, the stories you've carried, or the scars you've mistaken for identity. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are not even your name. You are the universe, cloaked in form. You are stardust, animated by awareness. You are the timeless essence of life itself, playing the temporary game of limitation so that one day this day you would remember. You are not born to chase meaning. You are meaning. You are not made to search for truth. You are truth, waiting patiently behind every breath, behind every moment of stillness that dares to reach beyond thought. The cosmos did not create you as an outsider. It pulsed itself into the fabric of your being, breathed its intelligence into your heart and whispered, go, be, expand, remember. Live as if you are the universe expressing itself, because you are. You are not separate from the stars that shine, the rivers that flow, or the winds that whisper through the trees. The same intelligence that spins the galaxies, spins the thoughts in your mind, the rhythm in your heartbeat, the longing in your soul. You are not merely part of the whole, you are the whole, expressing itself as a part. But we forget. We get so caught up in the illusion of form that we lose the formlessness that birthed us. We fall into roles and routines attached to possessions and positions, chasing illusions of control in a world built on impermanence. And we call this living. We call this safety. But the soul doesn't want safety. The soul wants truth. The soul wants freedom. The soul wants to fly. And the only thing keeping you grounded is the belief that you are separate. Separate from source. Separate from life. Separate from others. But separation is the original illusion. It is the veil cast by the ego, the shadow of fear projected onto the eternal light of being. The ego says, I am this body, this name, this history. The soul whispers, I am everything and I am no thing. The ego fears change. The soul is change. The ego clings. The soul releases. To live as a universe expressing itself is to let go of the illusion that you are a fragment. It is to walk not in pride but in presence, not in domination but in divine surrender. It is to see yourself not as the wave trying to prove its worth in the ocean, but as the ocean rising momentarily in wave form, powerful, unique, and deeply connected to the whole. You are not meant to live in fear of your own greatness. You are not meant to shrink your light to make others comfortable. You are not meant to hide your truth beneath layers of apology. You are meant to radiate, to expand, to burn away everything that is false, so only what is real remains love. Pure, infinite, unconditional love, the language of the universe, the fabric of your being, the pulse behind every heartbeat and every act of true courage. When you choose to live as if you are the universe expressing itself, you stop needing validation. You no longer wait for permission. You stop asking if you're worthy. You know not in your mind but in your soul that you are already whole, already enough, already divine. And in this knowing, you begin to walk differently. You walk with reverence for all things, for the stranger beside you, the flower beneath you, the silence within you. You speak not to be heard, but to be true. You give not to be praised, but because giving is what love does. You forgive not to condone, but to unshackle your soul from the prison of resentment. Because the universe doesn't hold grudges. It expands, it flows, it learns, it transforms, and so must you. The deeper truth is this: you are not becoming, you are unbecoming. Unbecoming everything that is not you, every belief that says you're limited, every fear that says you're powerless, every memory that tells you you're broken. You are not broken. You are birthing. And what is being born is the real you. Not the version of you the world taught you to be, but the you that existed before the world told you who you were. The you that remembers it came here with a purpose, with a vibration, with a sacred frequency to express, not to impress, but to express. Not to perform, but to be. You are here to shine your light, not because the world needs more brightness, but because that's what light does, it shines. You are not here to struggle your way to enlightenment. You are here to remember that you already are. Enlightenment is not some destination at the end of effort. It is the stillness underneath every moment. The presence behind the thoughts. the awareness witnessing your life from within your own eyes. And the more you remember this, the more your life becomes a sacred unfolding, not a chaotic chase. You stop trying to control everything and instead become attuned to the flow. You stop forcing and you start aligning. You stop resisting the moment and you start dancing with it. Because the universe is not in a hurry. It grows trees slowly. It carves mountains patiently. It spins galaxies in quiet wonder. And it births you not to rush, but to remember. To remember that you are not a mistake, that your timing is not late, that your path is not broken, that your being is not flawed. You are not the trauma you endured, but the strength that survived. You are not the doubts that whisper, but the presence that hears them. You are not the wounds that ache, but the spirit that witnesses even pain with compassion. You are not here to live half alive. You are not here to dim your fire, to blend in with a world afraid of its own light. You are here to awaken fully, courageously, continuously. Live as if you are the universe expressing itself because you are. And when you truly accept this, you stop trying to get life right and you start being life right now, in this moment, with all its beauty, all its imperfection, all its mystery. You begin to see the divine in the mundane. You feel the sacred in the simple. You realize the ordinary is extraordinary when you are present with it, because presence is power. And when you are fully present, you are fully divine. Let go now of everything that keeps you pretending you are small. Let go of every thought that says you must earn your worth. Let go of the masks, the roles, the shame, the old stories. They were only costumes the soul wore while learning how to remember. Now the soul is ready to be naked, honest, whole. Live not as a seeker of light, but as the light. Live not as a being on a path to source, but as source walking the path. Live not as a mind trying to figure it all out, but as a heart surrendered to what already island. Because you don't need to become worthy of love. You are love. You don't need to strive for connection. You are connection. You don't need to search for purpose. You are purpose, pulsing through a form, waiting to be expressed. Live as if you are the universe expressing itself, because the universe never hides, never shrinks, never apologizes for existing. Neither should you. There is a quiet revolution that begins the moment you stop asking the world for direction and start listening to the wisdom rising from within you. It does not announce itself with trumpets. It doesn't shout for attention. It arrives like dawn, soft, golden, and undeniable. A slow illumination that touches every corner of who you are and reminds you you were never lost, only distracted by what is not you. The universe does not need your striving. It calls for your surrender. Not the surrender of weakness, but the surrender of resistance, the soft and sacred art of becoming open again, open to love, open to presence, open to the boundless intelligence that courses through every cell of your being. The stars do not strive to shine. The rivers do not push to flow. They are what they are, and so must you be. To live as if you are the universe expressing itself is to trust the unfolding even when you don't understand it, especially then. It's easy to have faith when the sun is shining, but real alignment is forged in the quiet valleys when the night is long and your path is lit only by the gentle glow of trust. In those moments, you are invited to remember, you are not here to control the current, but to learn how to float. The deeper you sink into this trust, the more you realize that everything you once feared was never a threat, only a teacher. Every closed door was a redirection. Every heartbreak was a softening. Every ending was the breath before a new beginning. Life is not punishing you, it's polishing you, shaping you into someone who can remember their true name, not the one the world gave you, but the one etched in your soul before time began. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be whole. And wholeness doesn't mean the absence of shadow. It means loving the light and the shadow as equal parts of the same sacred dance. The moon is no less divine for showing only part of herself, and neither are you. You don't need to be everything for everyone. You only need to be fully yourself, fully alive, fully real. And what is more real than love? Not the kind sold in stories or bargained in relationships, but the kind that's simply island, the love that remains when there is nothing left to prove, the love that sees without judgment, the love that exists not as an emotion, but as the original frequency of all creation, That is the essence of who you are. Not love is something you give or receive, but love is what you are before any transaction begins. When you realize this, forgiveness becomes not a task, but a return. You stop carrying the weight of what was done to you, and instead remember that nothing done to the body can ever touch the truth of the soul. The soul remains intact, untouched, eternal. It watches your suffering with the eyes of compassion, not pity. It knows your wounds are not your end, they are your doorway. To live as the universe expressing itself is to walk through those doorways without fear. To walk into your pain, your shame, your doubt, and greet them like old friends who came bearing hidden light. You will not dissolve by feeling deeply. You will not be destroyed by your vulnerability. In truth, that is where your strength lives. Not in the armor, but in the open heart. Not in the clenched fist, but in the surrendered hand. You are not the one falling apart. You are the one being rearranged, reshaped into the clearest version of yourself. Life is not trying to break you. It's trying to break through you, through your patterns, through your walls, through your need to always understand. Some things must be felt to be known, and some truths can only be accessed through the silence beyond the mind. So be still, not just in your body, but in your being. Let go of the mental commentary. Release the inner critic. Step away from the performance. Stop dancing to the music of a world that forgot how to listen. Be still, and in that stillness you will hear it. The voice that doesn't speak in words, the presence that has never left. The breath that reminds you, you are here, and here is enough. Enoughness is not something to be earned. It is the ground of your existence. It is the truth underneath all lies. It is the melody behind every sacred act. You are not here to earn your place. You are the place, the space where Source comes alive in form. And the moment you stop trying to become something, you become everything. You don't need more. You need less noise, less pretending, less running from your own soul. Because your soul is not something distant. It's not hiding in some far-off mountaintop or mystic realm. It's right here breathing with you, dreaming through you, waiting for you to recognize that the treasure you seek is the awareness that is already looking. There are no accidents in a conscious universe. There are only invitations, and everything is one. The bird that sings outside your window, the tears that fall unannounced, the stranger who smiles when you need it most. These are all reminders that you are not alone, and you have never been. To live as the universe expressing itself is to see the sacred in everything, not just the extraordinary, but the mundane. To walk into your life not as a burden, but as a blessing. To rise in the morning not with obligation, but with awe. To touch the day as if it were holy because it island. This breath is holy. This moment is holy. You are holy. And holiness is not reserved for the perfect. It belongs to the present. It belongs to those who dare to see with the eyes of the soul. Not for what something appears to be, but for what it truly is, divine. And so are you. There is a profound stillness that lives beneath all movement, a silence not born of the absence of sound, but of the presence of something far more eternal. It is the same silence that held the stars before they formed, the same silence that holds you now. In this space, nothing is missing, nothing is broken, all is already whole, including you. You see, life does not ask you to become more. It invites you to see more clearly. The journey is not toward distance, but depth. Not towards something beyond you, but into the heart of what has always been within you. That quiet presence, that unnameable awareness behind the eyes it has never left. It has simply been waiting for your recognition, and recognition is not effort, it is willingness. The willingness to be open, to be undefended, to be present with what is, even when the mind insists it should be different. The wisdom of the universe is not loud, it arrives in the spaces between thoughts, in the surrender beneath certainty, in the breath you stop to feel without rushing. You're not here to conquer the world, you are here to remember that the world flows through you, that your life is not a separate stream, but a current in the river of creation. The more you soften into that current, the more you discover that the power you've been seeking was never outside of you, it was the very aliveness within your awareness. There is no reward waiting at the end of becoming someone else. The only reward is in reclaiming the simplicity of who you are when you stop trying to be anything. Your presence is not a tool, it is a temple. Your life is not a performance, it is a sacred unfolding. When you honor that, even the ordinary becomes divine. And the divine doesn't need to be explained, it needs to be lived. It needs to be felt in the fingertips as you touch a moment with reverence, heard in the pauses between words, seen in the reflection of your own eyes when you stop running from your depth. There is no awakening without intimacy with yourself, with the now, with the unseen intelligence moving through every breath. That intimacy begins not by figuring everything out, but by giving up the idea that you must. It begins when you trade the pursuit of meaning for the experience of presence. You are not a puzzle to be solved. You are a mystery to be lived. And living from that mystery means letting go of the constant commentary, the evaluations, the conditions, the comparisons. It means stepping back from the mind's endless questions and sinking into the answer that has no words, the answer that is your being. And from this beingness, love flows. Not the transactional love the world often imitates, but the unconditional current that needs no reason, no outcome, no reciprocation. It simply moves through you, from you, as you. Like light from the sun, it does not discriminate, it radiates. When you live as if you are the universe expressing itself, you realize that your very existence is an offering. You don't need to strive to be a contribution. You already are one. Your presence, aligned with truth, becomes a force of peace, an agent of healing, a beacon without effort. And this peace, this deep anchored peace, is not passive. It is not an escape from life, but a return to it. It is the courage to meet each moment unguarded. It is the clarity to see without distortion. It is the power to act without ego, to move without attachment, to give without fear. You become not someone who needs to be seen, but one who sees. Not someone who needs to be loved, but one who is love. And from that space, every interaction becomes sacred, every choice becomes intentional, and every breath becomes a miracle. So breathe now, not as the person you've been conditioned to be, but as the presence you've always been. Let the illusion of separation fall away like old skin. Let the need to be understood dissolve into the peace of understanding yourself. You are not here to chase the light. You are here to remember that you are the light. And the world does not need more shadows disguised as strength. It needs you open, grounded, awakened, a living expression of the infinite, unafraid to shine without shame, unafraid to feel without filters, unafraid to be fully, vulnerably, powerfully you. Then let us go further deeper into that sacred territory within, where no name exists, yet all truth resides, where there are no mirrors, yet everything is reflected, where you do not seek to define yourself, but to dissolve into what has always been. Living as the universe expressing itself is not a philosophy. It is not an ideal. It is a return to your natural rhythm, your original essence, your unedited truth. And in that return, you begin to notice something subtle and transformative. Nothing in nature rushes, yet all is accomplished. The flower does not bloom by force. The stars do not burn by strategy. They become what they are by being what they are fully. This is your invitation to stop managing your life like a project and begin tending to it like a garden, to move from controlling to allowing, from doubting to listening, from proving to simply expressing. And that expression, that unfiltered movement of your inner being, is your sacred contribution to the whole. You are not here to imitate the patterns of others. You are here to be a unique unfolding of the cosmic pattern itself. The deeper you honor that uniqueness, the more peace you will know, not the fleeting peace of escape, but the enduring peace of alignment. Alignment with what is real, what is eternal, what has no beginning and no end, the soul. And the soul does not measure, it witnesses. It does not compare, it communes. It does not strive to be something better because it already knows that it is divine. When you embody this, you begin to walk differently, not with arrogance, but with quiet authority. Not with ego, but with reverence. You no longer enter rooms wondering if you belong. You realize that your presence itself sanctifies the space, not because you are more, but because you are fully here. And being here, truly here, is the miracle. Not in some imagined future where your healing is complete, your dreams are fulfilled, and your identity perfected, but here, where the breath meets the body, where the silence cradles your awareness, where nothing needs to change for you to feel the vastness of your being. You begin to see life not as a series of events to endure, but as a conversation with the infinite. Every setback becomes a redirection. Every wound becomes a doorway. Every moment becomes a message. And you, dear soul, become the interpreter, not through logic, but through presence. In that presence, the mind becomes quiet, not suppressed, but soothed. Not silenced by force, but by awe. The kind of awe that arises when you finally realize the same source that crafted galaxies lives within your chest, beating your heart, guiding your path, whispering always, you are already home. So why do we wait to live? Why do we postpone joy, withhold love, deny our radiance as if tomorrow is more sacred than today? There is no tomorrow more real than this moment. And this moment, touched by your awareness, becomes eternity. Live from that place. Speak from that place. Love from that place. Not cautiously but abundantly. Not conditionally but openly. Let your life become a prayer without words, a dance without choreography, a light without effort. You were not born to be understood by all. You were born to be true to yourself. And truth is not what you declare, it's what you embody. So if your soul feels weary from pretending, from performing, from perfecting, lay it down. Rest in what is true. You don't have to carry the story any longer. The story that says you're not there yet. The story that says you must do more to be more. The story that keeps you running in circles around a center that has always been still. Stop spinning. Sit inside that stillness. Feel its depth. Listen to its knowing, and then live from there. Move from there. Create from there. Forgive from there. That is the real you. And the world needs that you, not the edited version, not the censored version, not the exhausted version trying to earn a right to exist. Just the you who is already whole, already enough, already divine. And now, as the soul settles deeper into this unfolding, you may feel it, that quiet remembrance stirring like a wind through the leaves of your awareness. Not a conclusion, but a returning, a homecoming, not to a place, but to a state of being. A state that has always been patiently waiting beneath the noise, beneath the striving, beneath the layers of becoming. You are not what the world has told you. You are what the universe has whispered. Not a separate self navigating a cold cosmos, but the cosmos itself awakening to its own presence through you. The infinite wearing a human face. The eternal learning how to feel. And each step you take in truth, each breath you take in presence, each moment you meet with love, these are not small acts. These are revolutions. The real transformation is not dramatic. It is sacredly subtle. It happens when you choose presence over performance, when you stop reaching outward and begin listening inward, when you realize that the very longing that aches in your heart is the echo of the universe calling you back to what you've always been, whole, worthy, free. This is not about escaping the world. This is about seeing the world differently through the eyes of the soul, through the lens of unity, through the deep knowing that nothing is outside of the sacred, not the struggle, not the uncertainty, not even the ache, because all of it is part of the unfolding. All of it is part of the song. And your life, yes, your life is one verse of that cosmic song. Unique, necessary, irreplaceable. Not better or worse than any other, but distinct in its vibration, its color, its offering. And when you stop trying to be someone else's verse and start singing your own, the whole song becomes richer. The whole becomes complete. So live as if you are the universe expressing itself, not tomorrow, not when things are easier, not once you've figured it all out, but now, in this breath, in this body, in this exact moment. Let your feet touch the earth with reverence. Let your voice rise with authenticity. Let your silence speak with power. Let your presence be your offering. You do not need more time to become who you are. You only need less resistance to being who you already are. You do not need to ascend, you need to remember. You do not need to transcend life, you need to inhabit it fully, deeply, divinely. So let the old self fall away like autumn leaves, making space for spring. Let the doubts dissolve into the certainty of your being. Let the past become a bridge, not a burden. Let the future rest in trust, and let this moment, this one, be enough. Not because it is perfect, but because you are present. And in your presence, the universe meets itself. In your awareness, God knows its own name. In your willingness to be here, just as you are, life finds its sanctuary. So walk on, beloved soul, not in search, but in celebration. Not in fear, but in remembrance. Not in striving, but in shining. Because you are not the light seeking the source. You are the source, revealing the light. Live this truth, and let that be your legacy. Let that be your liberation. Let that be you. You were never born not in the way you think. You appeared, yes. You emerged into this form, yes. But your essence, the real you, has no beginning and no end. You are not flesh and bone confined to time. You are light, timeless, and indivisible. A whisper from the infinite, dancing temporarily in the costume of matter. This world taught you early on to identify with your body the way it looks, how it's perceived, what it achieves. But this identity is borrowed. It is a name written in sand, vulnerable to the next wave. Your soul, however, that eternal current beneath the skin, has never needed validation. It's simply island, and it is magnificent. You are not here to become something. You are here to remember what you've always been. Your soul does not speak in words. It does not shout or demand. It whispers, it nudges, it resonates. And when you're still enough to listen, you begin to notice that what you've been seeking out there has been quietly waiting within you all along. The world says you are a body and you might have a soul. But the truth is, you are a soul. And for a brief moment, you have a body. And what a sacred opportunity this is to walk the earth with feet made of stardust, to see through eyes that carry galaxies, to breathe not just oxygen, but presence, to feel not just emotion, but the echo of the divine within every rise and fall of your being. The body is a vehicle, temporary, miraculous, but not who you are. It is the lamp. The soul is the flame, the light it casts. That's your real essence. But we forget. We forget and we suffer. We attach ourselves to appearances, to roles, to names, to our past. We say, this is me. I am what I've been through. I am what others think of me. I am what I own, what I fear, what I lack. But none of that is true. You are not your story. You are not your scars. You are not your possessions, your achievements, your failures. You are not even your personality, for that too is shaped by the winds of experience. Who you are is the one observing all of that. The awareness behind the thoughts, the presence behind the mask, the silence underneath the noise. When you realize this, not as a belief, but as a lived knowing something miraculous happens, the grip of the ego loosens, the fear of death fades, the chase for approval loses its urgency because you remember you've never been separate from the source that created you. Your soul does not age, it does not break, it does not compare or compete, it does not cling. It watches, it learns, it loves always and without condition. The moment you begin identifying as the soul instead of the body, you step into peace. You begin to forgive more easily. You let go more willingly. You laugh more freely because you're no longer trying to protect something temporary. You're finally living from something eternal. We spend so much time trying to decorate the outside, not realizing the light we seek is already glowing within. The sacred isn't out there. It's not hidden in a temple or buried beneath years of struggle. It is within you, right here, right now. You do not need to become spiritual. You already are. Your very nature is spirit, pure, formless, eternal. You just forgot. And forgetting is not a sin. It's part of the journey. But now it's time to remember. And so we begin to shed what was never truly ours to carry. The labels, the expectations, the unspoken agreements with fear, they begin to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. Because when you recognize yourself as a soul, you no longer need the weight of identity to feel real. You already are. Real, whole, eternal. The soul does not strive, it simply expresses. It does not chase happiness, it radiates joy. It does not argue for its limitations, it knows only freedom. Every burden you've carried, every wound you've protected like sacred glass, was only asking to be seen through the eyes of your true nature, through the eyes of grace. You are not broken, my friend. You are breaking open like a seed beneath the soil. And all that cracking, that trembling, that falling apart is the doorway. It's how light enters what you once tried to hide. You're not falling apart, you're falling inward, back home. The soul doesn't resist change. It flows with it, like a river moving through valleys and over stones. It knows that even detours are divine, that even delays are part of the dance, that even the heartbreak was a teacher dressed in disguise reminding you of what cannot be taken from you. And what is that? What cannot be taken? Your essence, your light, your capacity to love without condition. Your ability to start again, not because you've failed, but because you've grown. That is the soul's promise, not a life without pain, but a life where pain awakens you to deeper truth. The mind may cling to the known, but the soul delights in the unknown. The soul whispers, let go. Not because it wants you to lose, but because it knows you cannot hold what is sacred with clenched fists. You must open, you must soften, you must trust the unfolding. You see, the ego builds walls to survive. The soul breaks them to thrive. One imprisons, the other expands. And each moment offers you the choice to react from fear or respond from love. To shrink into the old story or step courageously into your higher knowing. And this knowing doesn't need proof. It doesn't ask for permission. It already island. It lives in the quiet awareness behind your breath, in the stillness between your thoughts. In the ache of longing, that's not for anything out there, but for union with your true self. When you say, I am a soul with a body, you're not denying this physical experience. You're simply remembering its role, a canvas for the eternal to paint its wisdom, a vessel, not a verdict, an instrument, not the music. And, the music you came here to play. You didn't come to live someone else's idea of a life. You didn't come to fit into the shape of someone's expectations. You came to express divinity in a way that only you can. You came to be a note in the great symphony of the universe, unique, irreplaceable, essential. But how can you play your note if you're silencing your soul? You must listen, not with your ears, but with your being, with your heart unguarded, with your attention turned inward like a compass. And there you'll begin to hear the subtle guidance that's always been there. The soul does not shout because it doesn't need to. Truth is never loud, it's simply undeniable. You are not here by accident. You are not randomly assigned a life. You are a precise expression of the infinite, placed in time and space with purpose. And that purpose is not something you need to chase. It's something you need to remember. You fulfill it not by efforting, but by aligning, by being what you already are, without resistance, by loving yourself not as a project to be fixed, but as a miracle to be revealed. The soul is not in need of repair, it's in need of recognition. Can you see it now? That the search was never to find who you are, but to unlearn who you are not. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. You are not your emotions. You are the space in which they rise and fall. You are not your past. You are the presence witnessing the unfolding of now. And you are not your body, though it is sacred, though it is divine. It is not your limit, it is your lens. And the soul is what shines through it. So breathe. Breathe not just with your lungs, but with your awareness. Breathe into the center of your being where silence is not empty, but full of wisdom, full of remembrance, full of truth. You are not the tension, you are not the noise, you are the stillness beneath it all. And in that stillness, you will find what you've been aching for, yourself. You are the sky, not the storm, the light, not the lampshade. You are the timeless essence moving through time, wearing this life like a robe. But robes can be shed. And identities, no matter how tightly held, can be released. There is no shame in loosening the grip on who you thought you had to be. The soul is not interested in how the world measures you. It is not trying to impress. It does not need validation, recognition, or applause. The soul is here for one thing, expansion. It longs to grow, to learn, to love more deeply than the day before. It wants to know itself through experience, through surrender, through presence. Not through control, not through force, not through resistance. And yet we resist. We resist what changes us. We resist what softens us. We resist even our own joy, convinced we must earn it. But the soul has never once demanded your perfection. It only asks for your presence, your willingness, your open heart. You are not here to master the world. You are here to master your alignment with the infinite within you. Everything else is a reflection. Life bends to meet you at the level of your own vibration. When you radiate truth, life echoes it back. When you radiate peace, the chaos loses its grip. And when you live from soul, the entire universe becomes your mirror. There are no accidents in a universe governed by divine intelligence. That means your pain was not meaningless. It carved space for compassion. Your losses were not punishments. They redirected you toward truth. Your longing was not emptiness. It was the calling of the sacred, beckoning you back to what you've always been. And what is that? You are love. Not love as a feeling, but love as a state of being. As the origin and destination of your essence, you are not here to find love. You are love, remembering itself. Every time you offer forgiveness instead of resentment, every time you choose peace over pride, every time you allow instead of resist, the soul rejoices. Because now you are remembering. And in that remembrance, there is healing. Deep, unshakable, cellular healing. A healing that doesn't just touch your emotions, but your energy, your choices, your very perception of what's possible. The soul doesn't heal through fixing. It heals through reuniting you with your wholeness. The wholeness that was never broken, only buried. Buried beneath shoulds and doubts and masks and noise, but never lost. You have never lost your light. It simply waited patiently, silently, lovingly. Like the sun behind the clouds, it never stopped shining. So now, I ask you, what if you stopped searching for your soul and started living from it? What if you began each morning not asking, what must I do? But instead, what would my soul have me become? What would change if you stopped trying to prove your worth and simply embodied it? This is not a concept. This is a remembrance, a returning, a reuniting with what is more real than any fear, stronger than any story, more permanent than any pain. You are a soul with a body. But the body will one day dissolve and the soul will remain. That means your truth is not what you can touch, but what you are when all else falls away. That means every time you look in the mirror and think, I am not enough, you are listening to the wrong voice. You're listening to the illusion, not the light. The light says, you are enough because you are eternal. The light says you belong because you are one with all. The light says, you are love, and no circumstance can take that from you. Now, can you hear it? Then stay with me, not just with your mind, but with the quietest space in your heart. The place that doesn't need convincing, because it already knows. The place that recognizes truth, not as something learned, but as something remembered. This is the remembering, that you were never the role you played. You were never the job title, the resume, the nameplate, the applause. You were never the trauma, the betrayal, or the lonely night. You were, and still are, the eternal witness behind it all. The you that was there before the heartbreak is the same you that will remain long after healing. The you that watched your first breath will be the one to watch your last without fear. Because the soul is not concerned with beginnings or endings. It lives in the eternal now. It doesn't count years, it counts awakenings. And every moment you remember that you are more than this form that's resurrection, that's liberation, that's life, not just surviving, but soaring. So ask yourself, where have I mistaken the mask for the face? Where have I been protecting my ego instead of expressing my essence? Where have I allowed the temporary to eclipse the timeless? Your body may grow tired, your thoughts may become cloudy, your emotions may rise and fall, but the soul remains clear, present, undisturbed. Like the moon reflecting in 1,000 rippling lakes, the form may change, but the light is the same. When you know yourself as soul, you begin to see others that way too. You no longer judge the wounded behavior, you see the pain behind it. You no longer cling to being right, you find joy in being love. You no longer need to win, you already are whole. What once angered you softens. What once scared you loses its grip. What once defined you falls away, revealing the divine underneath. This is not detachment from life, this is the fullness of it. For only when you release your false identity do you become available to the miracle of what's here. Now, this breath, this presence, this sacred, now unburdened by the past, unworried about the future. You don't need to transcend this world, you just need to remember the part of you that is untouched by it. That's the paradox of the soul that is in the world, but not of it. It lives through the senses, but is not limited to them. It dances in time, but rests in the timeless. And once you taste that truth, even for a moment, you will never be the same. You begin to live differently, speak differently, love differently, because now you're not acting from fear, but flowing from essence. And in that flow, miracles become natural. Peace becomes effortless. Purpose becomes inevitable. Do not wait for the world to reflect your worth. That is the ego's game. Instead, reflect your soul to the world and watch it rise to meet you. There's a radiance that lives within you, not earned, not borrowed, but born of the infinite. And no darkness, no rejection, no failure has the power to diminish it. It is your inheritance. It is your birthright. It is your home. So come home. Come home to the stillness inside the storm. Come home to the presence behind the performance. Come home to the love that asks for nothing in return. Come home to yourself. Because when you live from soul, you live from source. And when you live from source, life flows not without challenges, but without resistance. And that is where freedom lives. Not in what you own, not in what others see, but in what you know deep in your bones about who and what you truly are. You are not a body with a soul. You are a soul that for a moment wears a body. Let that truth breathe through every cell of your being. Let it guide your words, your walk, your choices. Let it dissolve the illusions that have kept you small. Let it unchain the love you've been afraid to give. Let it set fire to the doubts that once kept you waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are the light you've been seeking. You are the peace you've been chasing. You are the miracle you've been praying for. All of it lives within you, not in the future, but in the eternal now. Then allow yourself to fall even deeper into this space, the space where truth is not spoken to the mind, but remembered by the soul. You are not here to add more to yourself. You are here to strip away what was never true. The false beliefs, the borrowed fears, the armor built from past pain, all of it was never yours. It was lent to you by a world that forgot its own soul. But now you remember, and in remembering, you reclaim. Reclaim your stillness. Reclaim your softness. Reclaim your knowing, the deep, unshakable knowing that you are divine presence in motion. There is nothing more powerful than a human being who knows they are more than human, not above it, not beyond it, but deeper than it, infused with a presence that cannot be named, only felt. When you live from this place, there's no need to rush, no need to prove, no need to defend, because presence has no need for protection. It's simply island. The body may grow weary, the mind may wander, but the soul remains anchored in the now. And when you return to that now, you realign with the rhythm of the universe, the heartbeat of God, the breath of eternity pulsing through this moment. You do not need to become spiritual. You are spirit. You do not need to achieve peace. You are peace underneath the layers of thought. You do not need to attain love. You are love in its purest and most formless state. Everything else is illusion. Everything else is ego's voice whispering of separation when unity is all that ever was. You have never been separate from the source, not for a second. The wave is not separate from the ocean. It may rise, it may fall, but it never ceases to be ocean. So too with you. This lifetime is not a departure from God. It is God discovering itself through your eyes, your voice, your heart. And when you see others, truly see them not as roles, not as opinions, not as identities, but as souls cloaked in temporary flesh, you begin to live in reverence. Every encounter becomes holy. Every gaze becomes sacred. Because now you are no longer looking at others, you are looking into them. And what you find is yourself. All division begins with the belief that we are only bodies. All violence begins with the belief that we are separate selves fighting for survival. But the soul knows there is no other. The soul knows we are one, expressions of one source, echoes of one song, waves of one sea. When you wake up to this, truly wake up, your life becomes a prayer in motion, a meditation that walks and breathes and speaks. Your presence becomes your offering. Your silence becomes your wisdom. Your existence becomes your purpose. You stop asking, what should I do? And begin asking, how shall I be? And being becomes the blessing. Being patient, being kind, being rooted, being aware, being open, being here. That is how the soul moves through the world, not with noise, but with depth, not with force, but with grace. And grace is what you came here to embody. Grace not as something earned, but something remembered. Something so natural to your being that once you stop trying to be more, it reveals itself. This is the paradox. When you finally stop reaching outside yourself, the entire universe reaches through you. Your words begin to heal. Your touch begins to comfort. Your silence begins to teach. Not because you are trying, but because you are being. And that being is soul. You are not your past. You are the presence that has witnessed it all. You are not your trauma. You are the awareness that has survived it all. You are not your mistakes. You are the light that outshines them all. Let go now, not because you're broken, but because you're ready to be whole. Let go of who you were told to be. Let go of the guilt that keeps replaying an old story. Let go of the anxiety that believes you are alone in this. You were never alone. You were just disconnected from your own light. But even in that disconnection, the light never left you. It waited, patiently, quietly, lovingly, because that's what light does. It waits until you are ready to see. And now, you are beginning to see, not with the eyes in your head, but with the eyes of your soul, the eyes that recognize divinity, not as an idea, but as the truth beneath all forms. So walk forward not as someone seeking approval, but as one who already is what they were seeking. Walk not with the posture of striving, but with the stillness of remembering. Walk not to get anywhere, but to embody what's already here. You are soul. You are sacred. You are enough. Not someday, not once you heal, not when the world sees it. But now, and now is all that ever mattered. There is a place in you that has never been touched by fear. A place that has never doubted its worth, never questioned its belonging, never once asked for permission to exist. It is the silent chamber of your soul, untouched by time, unbothered by the noise of the world. And it is here in this holy stillness that you remember who you are. You are not the seeker, you are what is being sought. You are not the question. You are the answer that has always been whispered between the beats of your heart. You are not the journey. You are the presence walking through it. This remembrance is not a belief. It is not a philosophy to be argued or a doctrine to defend. It is a truth so intimate, so innate, that when you touch it, it feels like coming home to yourself. This is the soul's gift. It never condemns, never compares, never rushes you toward enlightenment. It waits. And in its waiting, it teaches the greatest lesson of all that you have always been enough, even in your mess, even in your grief, even in the chapters you've tried to hide from the light. The soul sees no shame in your becoming. It only sees beauty in your unfolding. There is no scoreboard in the soul's world, no measuring stick of success. There is only presence. And presence doesn't ask, how far have you come? It asks, are you here? Fully, gently, lovingly. The ego builds identities. The soul reveals essence. The ego separates. The soul includes. The ego argues to be right. The soul listens to understand. And every time you choose soul over ego, you soften the world around you. You bring peace where there was noise. You bring light where there was confusion. You become a lighthouse, not trying to convince the ships, but simply shining. And people feel it. They may not say it, but they feel it. They feel the calm in your presence, the depth in your silence, the truth in your eyes. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Because you've come home to yourself, and now they remember how to come home too. You begin to live not for appearances, but for alignment. Not for attention, but for authenticity. Not to escape life, but to become one with it fully, fearlessly, faithfully. Because now you see your worth was never negotiable. Your light was never conditional. Your presence was never accidental. You were chosen by the infinite, not as a mistake, but as a message. A sacred note in the divine song of existence. You are not here to be small. You are not here to play the part others cast for you. You are here to radiate without apology, without delay, without shrinking. And you don't need to know the entire path, you just need to know the next aligned step. The soul doesn't demand a 5-year plan. It whispers, be here now, and the rest will reveal itself. You are guided. You are held. You are loved, not because of what you do, but because of what you are. And what you are is eternal. So stop fighting the truth of your own brilliance. Stop deferring your peace to someday. Stop thinking your healing lives at the end of achievement. It lives here. Now, in the choice to return again and again to the stillness behind your breath, you are not a project. You are a presence. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle. You are not chasing purpose. You are walking purposefully. Because when you live as soul, everything becomes sacred. The ordinary becomes holy. The mundane becomes divine. And you begin to see there is no separation between you and the source. There never was. The same intelligence that paints galaxies into existence is breathing your lungs right now. The same presence that holds stars in orbit is holding you through your tears. The same love that carved mountains and oceans is etched into your DNA. You are not separate from God. You are the presence through which God experiences this world. And when you live from that truth, not as a concept, but as a conviction, you no longer need to hustle for worth. You no longer beg for love. You no longer seek outside what already radiates within, because you are that love. You are that worth. You are that light. And this is what it means to be a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. You are not here to arrive. You are here to remember. To remember the silence that knows your name. To remember the stillness that has never abandoned you. To remember the light that needs no fixing, only revealing. And so, as the world continues to spin and the noise continues to call, you now carry something different. A deeper awareness, a softer strength, a sacred knowing that you are not the waves crashing against the shore. You are the ocean itself. You are not the role you play. You are the breath behind the words. You are not your reflection in the mirror. You are the radiance that makes that image glow. You are a soul, eternal, boundless, free. And this body, this life, this fleeting form, it is your canvas. Now paint it with peace. Move with love. Speak from truth. And live like the divine spark you've always been. Not someday. Now, you are not here to prove your light. You are here to be it. And so you shall.